So, Laura, tell me about this movie of yours. I'm really excited to hear all about it.
Sure. So my film is a short documentary called Street Reporter, and Street Reporter tells the story of Sheila White, who is a budding photojournalist here in Washington, D.C., who works for the street newspaper called Street Sense. Um, and she's also experiencing homelessness as she is working towards her dream of becoming a photographer. And so it really is the story of her life coming out of homelessness and finding her voice as a creator and as a storyteller.
That's incredible. Now, how did you meet her or hear her story to decide to make this into a movie?
Sure. So I work at American University here in DC, and I teach in their film program. And I run something there called the Community Voice Lab, which is a program to connect our filmmakers with local storytellers in sort of a collaborative, co-creative filmmaking practice. And so I got connected to Sheila and to the Street Sense Filmmakers Co-op through the Community Voice Lab. And my producer, Brian Bello, had been working with them for like 6 years on teaching and training and mentoring in filmmaking skills to the folks who are participating through Street Sense's programming for people experiencing homelessness. And so we, began just kind of attending their reporting meetings as they were figuring out how to send reporters out on assignments to follow in particular, the issue of tent city in DC. And this is an issue that, faces many different cities. And so the film kind of came out of that. We started following a group of reporters, and really Sheila's story kind of bubbled to the top, you might say, in terms of her becoming the subject of the story. It didn't start that way. We started by filming with a number of the reporters, and it really became Sheila's story in the end.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge about making this film?
Think there were a lot of challenges to making this film, like any film, right? Um, I think in the beginning, we weren't quite sure even what the story was. So I think that I don't normally love to start filming without knowing kind of what the ending's going to be. But I think sometimes the best films, you just have to follow until the story's done. So there was a bit of a leap of faith in that. I think the pandemic obviously really interrupted things. At that point, when the pandemic hit, we had been filming with Sheila and Reggie, her partner on the reporting team, for maybe 5 months and then maybe 6 months, and the pandemic hit. And all of a sudden, the homeless population was at such a disadvantage because everybody else could go home and socially distance, but people who were living in, shelters or in tents under, underpasses, they couldn't socially distance. And so it was a really scary time for Sheila in particular. Actually, she was really terrified because she was living in a women's shelter. And so, and nobody, we felt like we weren't able to see each other, and so it took a couple of months after she ended up being able to live with a family member on their floor for a few months, got out of the shelter and ended up getting permanent housing. And so we were there the day she got her first apartment, and we filmed, that moment of elation after 8 years of homelessness, of getting her own place. So, in the end, I would say that if the pandemic started as an interruption to the process, it ended up, I think, becoming a pretty integral part of the story itself. And really, I think the ending of the film is not what I expected, but I think that's due in part to the pandemic's, complication.
Nice. And what would you say was the most rewarding part about making this?
Oh, absolutely. My relationship with Sheila. I think that she and I have bonded, not just as like filmmaker and participant, but as friends. And I think seeing the way that she came when we first started, she was in such a place of really like a low place in her life. And to be able to track her kind of through her own agency, she goes back to school, goes back to university at age 59, right? She begins to study, she begins to become this artist that she wants to be. And I think to witness that transformation and to have it on camera, and then to see her now, now I'm taking her all over the place. I took her to Telluride, Colorado for this awesome film festival a couple weeks ago. And we were at another festival last weekend in DC, and she's just telling her story to the world. That to me is the most gratifying, beautiful part of this process.
And what's next for you now that this is getting ready to for the world to see, and I'm so excited about it. You have any other projects on the docket?
Yeah, I just actually completed a feature documentary called Project Home, 3D printing the future. And, it's a film that a little bit is inspired by the Street Reporter project, because Street Reporter focused on the sort of issue of homelessness. And my next project was really looking at innovations in housing solutions, right? And so the film tracks a group of tech entrepreneurs who are on a journey to work with affordable home buyers to see if they can really do 3D printed houses in a way that will really have life transforming effects for people who need affordable housing. And so we just premiered that film at the Heartland Film Festival last week, I guess. So it just had its world premiere. And so we're, going off on the festival circuit with that film as well.
It's incredible. Congratulations on that. Can't
Thanks.
wait. I can't wait to see that one next.
Well, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
love
I
for
would
you to
love
see
that.
it.
I would love that. And what I like asking people in interviews, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
A fun fact about myself. Okay, so I have 3 children. They are the light of my life. They're 10, 12, and 5. And I grew up in Florida.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of work in Rwanda, and that's where my journey as a filmmaker started, was in covering the reconciliation process after the Rwandan genocide. And so anyway, I think I love to tell stories about hope in places where, in unexpected places. So,
That's incredible. That's amazing. You're absolutely amazing, Laura.
oh, well, you're really kind. Thank you for interviewing me. I'm just honored that you would be interested. So thank you.
Of course, I love hearing everybody's stories. And since we're also a TV site, what are you watching these days?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just finished the Rings of Power.
Yes.
I get a lot of life out of fiction, episodic television. Um, and The Bear. Have you seen The
I
Bear?
haven't seen that one yet. It's on
Oh
my
my
list though.
The Bear is really visceral and powerful and tense, but it's incredible filmmaking. So it's almost doc style. It's so realistic, but it's a scripted show. So those two have been highlights for me recently.
Nice. I got to check out The Bear and the Rings of Power. I heard so many good things about too, so I'm excited about that one as well.
Definitely. Oh, I highly recommend. And really the last episode of the Rings of Power is the best. So that was a really great way to end that show. I was like, oh, this ended on a high note.
And where can I find you on social media so I can continue to follow your career?
Sure. That was a great question. So I have a Facebook page. Feel free to reach. I think it's just Laura Waters Hinson. And I'm on Instagram also, I think is Laura Waters Hinson. And my website's laurawatershinson.com. You can also look for Street Reporter documentary on Instagram and Facebook, and also see updates on the film there.
Wonderful. Well, it was a pleasure to speak to you, and I can't wait to have you on again soon to promote this new movie.
Oh, please, that would be wonderful.
I
I
would
so
love it.
appreciate it. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. I'll send you a screener.
I would love that. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, you too. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.